the last time we saw some of these drivers in the field, of course, a number of these cars being shared, so drivers doing races 1 and 3, the others doing 2 and 4. There's been quite a bit of a shuffling of the results of race number 1, with many drivers picking up penalties for safety car restarts infringements. The biggest change that's had is that Lyle Schofield, our on the road winner in UCS 3, was one of those penalised, and so it's actually Patrick Michelier who ended up taking home the win in the end for the CMR team. But that hasn't affected too many of the other results in terms of the class wins. It has definitely shuffled about the overall result, but nonetheless, it is still Francesco Azzori looking to make it a 6th win in 6 races so far this year between the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup and Trofeo GTS action. And it looks like Claire Cottingham is downstairs on the grid with our pole sitter.
Yes, I am indeed. Let's head over and say hi to Francesco. I feel like I speak to him quite a lot. I'm so sorry. Could you hold that for me too? Oh, I'm getting hit by doors a lot today. Hello again. How are we feeling? It's very warm.
Yeah, feeling good. And today is very hot, most hotter than yesterday. But we try to do all our best also today.
You should be used to the hot. You are Italian.
Yes,
You've done incredibly every single time you've gone out there and won. Is the same again today?
yes, it's the same again.
Do we approach it any differently because it's your home?
We don't use other approach. We use the approach like to yesterday.
Like yesterday where you won?
Yeah, like yesterday.
If it ain't broken, don't try and fix it. Look, we'll leave you to it. Good luck. I enjoyed that umbrella. Thank you very much. Right, the race is going to be starting. The racing here in Mugello is going to be starting very shortly. I'm being told to get off the grid. So let's head back to you, Chris.
Thank you, Claire. Yes, we will have the formation lap underway shortly, as we can take a look at the beautiful Mugello circuit that Ultimate Cup Series is racing on for the first time since 2019. We've been deprived of this beautiful 5.24 5-kilometre circuit for far too long. And of course, announced soon, hopefully, that we will be returning. News as well coming last night that Goodyear is extending its partnership with the Ultimate Cup Series for the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup and the Ultimate GT Endurance Cup, and even heading into the European Endurance Prototype Cup as well. So soon we will have Goodyear-clad LMP3 and MPO2 machinery, as well as our various GT machines, of which we have here GT3 machinery. We have Lamborghini Super Trofeos, we have Porsche Cup cars, we have GT4 machines as well, and Ferrari Challenge cars as well. And so you can see on the grid the various mix of different classes, each fighting for their own class honours. It is a UCS1 front row lockout that is the class for the GT3 machines. UCS2 for Lamborghini Super Trofeo, UCS3 for Ferrari Challenge, Porsche Cup, self-explanatory, and then UCS4 for GT4 machinery. So far this weekend, in the Porsche Cup at least, it's been domination by Eric Debard from the Racetivity team. In fact, it was a double win for Racetivity in this morning's race, with Emmanuel Collard in the Racetivity Renault RS01 taking the overall victory despite 2 drive-through penalties. This is the last race we'll see that Renault on the field, actually, because they will not be taking part in race 4, with Jean-Henri Samani getting all the necessary mileage he needs in preparation for potential run in the European Le Mans Series later on this month, as the formation lap is underway. Francesco Azzori rightly waiting for the green flag, which is not what Emmanuel Collard did in this morning's race, which is why he picked up one of those drive-through penalties. So he will start on pole position alongside the Renault of Charles-Henri Samani. On UCS3 pole is Lyle Schofield in the SR&R Ferrari. Then the Porsche Cup pole sitter is Carl van der Westen. for To Be Autosport. Then comes Olivier Morahan in the JRM Racing Chevrolet Corvette, and Frédéric Lacour, who finished second in UCS3 so far this weekend. And then Francesco Corazon, Patrick Michelier, more Ferrari Challenge machinery there. Then Lionel Rigaud and Jeremy Avellaneda continue on the Porsche battle to complete the top 10. Eric de Bard, double race winner in class so far this weekend. Then Hugh van der Westin, Carl's father, also starting in 12th position. Then comes our UCS4 pole sitters as well, with Andre Sefiritos in the Porsche Cayman ahead of Pierre Aru, who hopefully will be starting. He didn't start this morning's race. And Alfredo Hernandez will be lining up at the back of the field after failing to set a time in either Q1 or Q2, having crashed the car early on in Q1. So he's starting all 4 races from the rear of the field. He has made good progress in the 2 races so far aboard the BDR competition Lamborghini Super Trofeo. I expect when he puts his foot to the floor, he'll be able to make up quite a bit of ground just on the run up to San Donato for the first time. There he is, the former Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe racer. And we saw Azzori was running very strong in race number 1, was able to outdrag the Renault down to turn 1 in race 1 yesterday. Will he be able to do the same thing again today? It is the 4.8 litre V8 in the Ferrari going up against the Nismo and Gibson built 3.8 litre twin turbo V6 in the Renault RS01 that is running to GT3 specifications, not the raw form that was designed for the Renault Sport Trophy. So it is 70 kilos of ballast on board the Renault and a slightly detuned engine as well. But it'll be the red and white Ferrari SR&R home team and home driver here in Mugello, who took race 1 victory yesterday, going up against the Racetivity Renault RS01 on the front row of the grid. Watch out for Olivier Morahan as well. He's picked up 2 podiums so far this weekend in the Chevrolet Corvette, but he's got the UCS3 and Porsche Cup pole sitters in front of him on the grid as the drivers make their way up towards the red lights, and when they are extinguished, we will go racing, which happens now. The Ferrari punches its foot to the floor and is already drawing clear of Charles-Henri Simani. So it is Francesco Azzori leading by a length going into San Donato for the first time of asking Lyle Schofield, trying to get up the inside for second position on the Frenchman, but unable to do so. Olivier Morahan side by side with Carl van der West in the Porsche Cup leader, and are going all the way around the outside of Luco. Can he make that work? No, he cannot, so settles back into 5th position, does the Frenchman. And Carl van der Westen ended up getting an excellent run out of Poggio Secco and felt like trying to round up the Ferrari Challenge car in front of him. There's Alfredo Hernandez trying to get up on the inside of the 122 car. Jeremy Avellaneda, who's had a bit of a torrid weekend so far with a retirement at turn 1 yesterday, and then coming into pit lane with a puncture in this morning's race. I'll be just hoping for a trouble-free race in this one. 25 minutes of racing. So we see the Porsche Cup battle slightly further down the order. Lionel Rigaud second in the order as it stands. The Renault of Charles-Henri Simani is definitely running here with the SR&R for Audi. Audi was slightly quicker in the middle sector. As you see there, Frédéric Lacour in 6th position, second of the UCS3 runners, running very closely there to the JRM Racing Corvette of Olivier Morahan. Heading out of Bondietti. And Drew Buccini for the first time at racing speed to complete the first lap of racing here. And Lacour, it looked like he had a bit of a run on the Corvette. But it is Azzori who leads by 0.7 of a second to Charles-Henri Simani. Azzori was able to return serve in the final sector of that lap, but the Renault looking a bit racier than it did yesterday in the hands of Charles-Henri Simani, and he picked up a penalty for unsafe behaviour yesterday, which we believe was for contact with Pierre Aru, who did not get going, and neither did Hugh van der Westen, sadly, either, in the second of the 2B Autosport Porsches. So Lyle Schofield and Carl van der Westen hold the lead in their classes respectively. Frédéric Lacour we saw in 6th position, holding Olivier Morahan. Francesco Corsan still sits third of the UCS3 runners. Eric de Bard's made up good progress. He's up into third in the Porsche Cup categories. We take another look at Alfredo Hernandez with that is Eric de Bard right in front of him, but off there goes Carl van der Westen on the exit of what looked like Borgo San Lorenzo. That was the exit of Arrabbiata 2, sorry. And so van der Westen just pushing the limits of the Porsche a little too much there in 4th position overall. Remember, that's one of the silver class drivers in this race, so he will have to take either a drive-through penalty or a post-race 47-second time penalty, as this is just hearing some rattling there from what sounded like the Chevrolet, and it was very wide there was Olivier Morahan going into Buccini, but yes, the silver class drivers do have to take penalties to even out the playing fields between the bronze and amateur class drivers in the field. So Morahan there looking up the inside into Sandonata, trying to take 4th place away. He went right round the outside of Carl van der Westen at that corner in race 1 yesterday. And Carl was actually very unlucky in the ending of race 1 as a safety car came out, and so when the penalty, his silver class penalty, was applied, he just plummeted right down to the rear of the field. But Caesar, his brother, was able to take a class podium this morning in race number 2, and we'll see him out again for the last race of the weekend a little bit later on, and then they'll be sharing the car together with their father in Trofeo GTE, the 4-hour race tomorrow. See the difference in the Porsche Cup machinery versus the GT3. The GT3 not needing to use its brakes for Arrabbiata 2. And that is the kind of performance that allows Olivier Morahan to just close up onto the back of that 992 Porsche Cup car. We do have a couple of the 991 specification cars, but we lost one of them. Sadly, the one remaining is the 122 car of Jeremy Avellaneda. We saw in race 2 that actually it was tough for Caesar van der Westen to hang on to the older generation car because it was so much quicker in a straight line despite its 25 horsepower deficit. Francesco Azzori starting to stretch his legs out at the front of the field. 2.4 seconds is his advantage over Charles-Henri Samani. Fastest lap of the race with a 150.051, but this could be Olivier Morahan's chance to move into 4th position and perhaps replicate the move he pulled in race 1 yesterday. Not quite, because he gets it done before they even get to Sandonata. Pulls clear of the Porsche in the braking zone, and that is the Frenchman up into 4th position. Carl van der Westen might start looking in his mirrors and concerning himself with Frédéric Lacour in the Racing Spirit of Le Mans Ferrari, who came up from the rear of the field in race 2 earlier on after a broken wheel rim stopped him from setting any lap times in Q2, which means he'll also be starting from the back in race 4 later on today. There is the Racing Spirit of Le Mans team who have been preparing that car and will also be out with a strong army of cars in the European Endurance Prototype Cup race on Sunday. 36 cars lined up for that particular outing. 16 LMP3 and 18 LMP3 and 18 of the MPO2 Novas as well, which we're very much looking forward to. And also trying to sample this good weather as well while it lasts, because we are expecting heavy showers tomorrow, but that won't be any concern to Francesco Azzori, who, as I mentioned, between Ultimate GT Sprint Cup and Trofeo GTS has won all 5 races that he started so far this year. And going back to the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup opener in Portimao, that number 3 car ended up taking all 4 wins with Francesco Azzori. And who's he sharing the car with on that day? It was Lorenzo Bontempelli. And so they took all the wins between them as well. Of course, we saw Francesco out in the Trofeo GTS race in Portimao. Porsche Cup battle heating up here as the GP Racing Porsche, the 89 of Lionel Rigaud, is coming under pressure from Eric Debard, who's won the class in both races so far this weekend. The front bonnet of that Porsche flapping around in the turbulent air of the car in front of him, and a lovely little switchback here through San Donato. They will run side by side towards Luco, and oh wow, I didn't think he was going to get enough momentum to do it there, but gets across the nose of the GP Racing Porsche by the time they turn into the left-hander, and so that puts Eric Debard up into 8th position overall and 2nd of the Porsche Cup runners. And of course, with Carl van der Westen having to take a fairly hefty silver class penalty, as long as he can remain within 47 seconds of the Frenchman when the checkered flag hits in about 16 minutes time, then Eric Debard is looking very good to make it 3 from 3 class wins so far this weekend. Eric Debard being the Porsche Carrera Cup France racer, prepping for an outing here in Mugello later in the month when the European Le Mans Series comes here for the first time. And that will be on the support bill. See a number of drivers using the various Ultimate Cup Series championships between the single-seaters and the GT Series. Oh, Eric Debard having quite a bit of a swapper there in Correnteo. But gathers it up nicely, and yes, many drivers using the various series, including the prototypes as well, to prep for various other series that are coming here for the first time. In fact, we ourselves at the Ultimate Cup Series here for the first time since 2019. So Debard ticks off another lap. That's 2nd in his category. He is 7 seconds behind Francesco Coassin, the car that is 3rd of the UCS3 runners. It is interesting to look at the difference in performance between the Ferrari Challengers and the Porsche Cup cars, and indeed the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. 3 very different cars designed by their respective manufacturers for one make competition in Porsche Carrera Cup, Ferrari Challenge and Lamborghini Super Trofeo. And yet we end up with some quite good racing between the marques in this series, despite them generating their lap time in very different ways. The Porsche is very adept at, of course, endurance racing as well, having been designed to also have its own class at the Nürburgring 24 hours, but a good car for sprint racing as well, with the 520 brake horsepower flat 6, whereas the Ferrari Challenge and Lamborghini Super Trofeo are in excess of 600 horsepower from their V8s and the V10s respectively. And in fact, the Ferrari 296 is the 296 Challenge car, I should say. The replacement for the 488 in Ferrari Challenge is closer to 700 horsepower. In fact, when they were testing the 296 in Barcelona earlier in the year, the times would have put it in the middle of a very competitive GT3 field, such as the performance difference between the 488 and the 296, which we haven't seen out in the Ultimate Cup Series just yet, but I'm sure various teams have got plans to bring the contemporary machine over to the Ultimate Cup. And so Francesco Azzori continues to lead. And yeah, in fact, the turbo spool whistle that I was geeking out over in race number 1 was actually coming from the Ferrari rather than the Renault. Just not something I'd heard in the previous races that we've seen that car in. But it is wonderful to listen to. Everything that's good about GT racing is in the variety of its engines and yet the closeness of its performance. And Francesco Azzori is about to come up to lap the sole remaining GT4 car of Andrei Sefiritos. That is currently circulating in 13th position. Of course, Pierre Aru was the other GT4 car lined up to take part this weekend, but ended up sustaining damage in race number 1 and having to park up, and sadly we haven't seen him out so far today. Can only assume it's because of the damage that was sustained. And so, Charles-Henri Simani is he's not doing himself too much of a disservice here. Only 4.2 seconds behind the man who's dominated the GT Sprint Series so far this year. Of course, Charles-Henri Simani very much here as a preparation for European Le Mans Series in GT. Obviously not with the Renault, but he's had that car for 8 years and is a handy training car because they can install the passenger seat for Emmanuel Collard, who he's sharing the car with this weekend, to guide him through the lap and give him some live coaching. As Olivier Morahan has closed up onto the back of Lyle Schofield for the last spot on the overall podium. The UCS3 race leader there in the white and black Ferrari 488 Challenge car. Olivier Morahan's already had 2 overall podium finishes so far this weekend and looking to make it a 3rd as they cascade down the hill at Casanova and into Cervelli. A wonderful sequence of corners here to the lowest point of the track at Arrabbiata 1 and back up the hill. And Olivier Morahan flashing his lights. Typical GT racing driver who's learned all the tricks of the trade. But, you will need something a bit stronger to scare Lyle Schofield off the road, who, I'm told, if things continue as they are and he ends up winning this race, won't even be celebrating it on the podium because he's got to get over to Imola sharpish to go and compete in the Italian GT Endurance Championship with the SR&R team this afternoon, because they've got qualifying coming up. And so he'll be hightailing it from Mugello to Imola as quick as he possibly can, as the Corvette does draw up alongside. Olivier Morahan trying to make the move here on Lyle Schofield for the last spot on the overall podium. They line up side by side. In theory, the Ferrari Challenge car could be a little bit quicker in a straight line, and but the Corvette does draw clear by the time they even get towards San Donato. So Lyle Schofield demoted to 4th position, but still in the UCS3 class lead, leaving 2 big black lines of Goodyear rubber out of San Donato as he releases the power from the V8 engine. And yes, that is the Corvette up into 3rd position. So it's UCS1 cars 1, 2 and 3 now. With Lyle Schofield still holding a 9.3 second advantage over his nearest class rival, which is Frederic Lacour. With Carl van der Westen. Now, he said he needed to look over his shoulder for Lacour, and he did, because Lacour has passed van der Westen for overall position into 5th. So van der Westen separating the 2nd and 3rd place cars in UCS3, Francesco Croissant. And let's see what the gap is between van der Westen and de Baard. It is not enough for van der Westen to hold on to it now. Still 8 minutes left on the clock, of course, but it does look very likely that Eric de Baard will be making it 3 class wins in as many races so far this weekend. There's our race leader. Now, Charles-Henri Simani has brought down the gap by over a second. It's 2.8 seconds now is the Italians' advantage, hunting that 6th consecutive win, as we mentioned. But Charles-Henri Samani is running strong at the moment. There could yet be another twist in the tail here in the final 7 minutes of this race. Remember, neither of these cars are going to be competing in race 4 later on, because Atzori is only doing 2 of the races per weekend, and his teammate, who was originally going to be sharing the car with, has withdrawn from the weekend, and Charles-Henri Samani is leaving with Emmanuel Collard after this race, as they're really here to get Samani the lap times, and he wouldn't be able to do race 4 because you're only allowed to do, if you're sharing the car, you have to split the races evenly. So that could open up the door for the likes of Olivier Morahan. We have yellow flags out at turn 12. I wonder if that's because of the slow-moving Jeremy Avellaneda that the leaders just rounded up going through the final sector. Now, it doesn't say car is stopped. Oh, well, the track map is telling lies to me, because we could see there Jeremy Avellaneda, who unfortunately is going to be retiring from a 3rd consecutive race. Now, that's Olivier Morahan. A lot of the drivers going very slowly indeed. Is that because we've got a safety car out? We haven't seen anything on the timing, but they're really crawling around the yellow flags that I've never seen. I've never seen drivers being so well behaved at a double yellow flag zone. Well, green flags are waving now. Well done to the drivers who went through. I've never actually seen that. Oh, now we've got debris on the front straight, though. Just on the left-hand side, driver's left, Olivier Morahan's about to discover it. Now, where could that have come from? And I can only assume it's come from a bit of contact. So one of these cars is running around slightly lighter than was homologated. I wonder if it was from Jeremy Avellaneda. That was some sort of contributing factor to why he ended up parked at the side of the road at Correntau. Just going to listen into that Chevy V8 rumble. It's a sound that slightly disappearing from the world of motorsport, sadly, with many manufacturers opting for smaller twin turbocharged, fewer cylinders. Although we still expect to see some V8s around, but not the big, brutish, naturally aspirated grunters that we have grown accustomed to. Well, so this is Francesco Atzori lapping Patrick Michelier, the race 1 winner in UCS3, owing to the many post-race penalties that were applied. Atzori starting to re-establish the gap that he had a few laps ago. It's back up to 3.2 seconds now over Charles-Henri Samani. And they in turn are several seconds there. We're still waiting for Olivier Morahan to actually cross the timing line, and Atzori's all the way down at Arrabbiata 1. But that is quite the gap that the Italian has established. There we go. 51 seconds between 2nd and 3rd place, as Atzori is now about to lap our 10th place driver, Alfredo Hernandez, the Mexican Super Trofeo racer. Mexican, is it? He's from Mexico, racing in Super Trofeo Europe. There isn't a Mexican Super Trofeo championship. So yeah, Hernandez trying to keep well out of the way of the leaders here. 3 minutes left on the clock, so Francesco Atzori about to start his penultimate lap of the race. Out in the lead, running on an Italian circuit in the Italian car run by the Italian team. man living in Rome, just 3 hours from here, as he reminded us after race 1. And although he missed the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup round in Hockenheim, has assured me that he will be back out for the remaining rounds in Magny-Cours and in Paul Ricard. So Charles-Henri Simani will finish second for the second time this weekend on the road, but will actually keep this podium place this time overall, with Olivier Morahan set to make it 3 podiums in as many races. And of course he's very well placed for race 4, given that 2 cars in front of him are not taking part. Francesco Azzori, of course, reigning champion in the Ultimate GT Sprint Cup in the GT3B category. A slight reshuffling of how the categories work for this year, but he's still leading the overall championship in Ultimate GT Sprint Cup. Charles-Henri Simani still running very closely with him. And so final lap being started then by Francesco Azzori in the SR&R Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo. 3.6 seconds ahead of Charles-Henri Simani in the Race Activity Renault RS01. Been fantastic to see that car out and about in Mugello this weekend. So now we're coming up to lap Lionel Rigaud, third of the Porsche Cup runners. So that's up to 9th position that our race leader has lapped now as he barrels down Casanova and Cervelli for the final time. Running up more of the traffic, there's the Porsche Cayman GT4 car on driver's right. They're not making contact with any of the drivers. Can't say the same for everyone so far this weekend. So there has been a few slaps on the wrist for drivers behind for that sort of contact. But it'll be another perfect weekend for Francesco Azzori. Already flashing his lights to Eric Debard, our double Porsche Cup race winner so far this weekend. Not sure he's going to get up to him by the time he gets to the timing line, but Francesco Azzori heads up towards the checkered flag for race 3 of Trofeo GTS in Mugello. It is 6 from 6 for Francesco Azzori in 2024. His perfect record continues in the Ultimate Cup Series this year. Second over the line by 2.8 seconds in the end with Charles-Henri Simani in the Race Activity Renault RS01. As that car departs for this weekend's running. And we have a long old wait for Olivier Morahan, who will claim his 3rd podium of the weekend in the JRM Racing Chevrolet Corvette C7. Across the line has come Alfredo Hernandez in 10th position, and our UCS4 winner, Andre Sefiritos. We're still waiting for Olivier Morahan to make his way across the line. They take the shortcut back down to the paddock. It will be Lyle Schofield, who is victorious in UCS 3 for the second time this weekend on the road. Should be able to keep this one, as we didn't have any safety car intervention there. So he takes victory for SR&R. It is double victory overall and in class for the Italian team on home soil. He beats Frederic Lacour across the line for Racing Spirit of Le Mans by 6 seconds in the end. Carl van der Westen crosses the line first of the Porsche Cup runners, but we'll wait to see what the gap is to Eric de Bard, who's set for a third Porsche Cup victory there. And Francesco Corsan will complete the UCS 3 podium. Another double podium finish in category for the SR&R team. So it should be Eric de Bard and Lionel Rigal, the top two in Porsche Cup. We'll wait to see there as Francesco Azzori climbs out of the Ferrari and celebrates his 6th victory of the season between Ultimate GT Sprint Cup and Trofeo GTS. Congratulates Charles-Henri Simani as well on a very strong weekend in the Renault. So time screen has updated. Carl van der Westen did manage to pull the gap he needed to survive that post-race penalty. So it is a first class win of the weekend for Carl van der Westen. He beats Eric de Bard and Lionel Rigal, who are line astern in the timing order in the end, in 7th, 8th and 9th position. Very tidy looking timing screen if you look at it. It's UCS 1 for the top 3, then the top 3 in UCS 3, then the top 3 in Porsche Cup as well. So yeah, it is Azzori, Charles-Henri Simani and Olivier Morahan, the top 3. Schofield, Lacour and Corsan, the top 3 in UCS 3, and then Carl van der Westen with the Porsche Cup victory, beating Eric de Bard and Lionel Rigal, and Alfredo Hernandez completing the top 10 in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo car. Patrick Michelier came home 11th in the end, ahead of Andre Safiritos. We lost Jeremy Avellaneda, and we never saw Hugh van der Westen or Pierre Aru, but Claire Cottingham is downstairs with our race winner.
I am indeed. Another win. I mean, it's quite impressive.
Yeah, another one win, and this time it's very difficult because I don't know, probably the Porsche lost water or oil, I don't know, and the car was undriving. But it's most difficult, and so I'm happy for our results.
So you were struggling a bit out there?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and in this heat as well, was that a factor?
So probably the tire go very low and very down, but we need to do very soft with the car and very soft drive for become to this victory.
It didn't feel like you were struggling out there, so you obviously covered it quite well.
Yes, the feel with the track today probably is most important. The temperature was very hot than yesterday. The car so become the track very hot, and the tire probably has very finished.
Finished, absolutely finished. Just a bit like you. No more racing for you today?
No more race for today. We can relax now because our weekend is finished.
It is finished indeed. You've got your family here as well, your daughter alongside you. How important is it to be here at your home as well in front of your little one?
Probably this race is most important in the championship. I have here my family, my sponsor, my partner, and probably yes, is the most important in the championship this year.
Well, congratulations. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.
See you next time indeed. Of course, we'll be back out at Magny Course for these guys, but plenty more racing, of course, to come in the Ultimate Cup over the next few days as well. So don't go anywhere, but I think let's catch up with the highlights of that race.
we gonna